welcome. So, if you are a payment service provider seeking a partner with deep payment processing expertise, proactive approach, and a commitment to helping you deliver on your product roadmap while paving the way for a successful expansion, you've come to the right place. My name is Melisande Mouwal, publisher of the Paypers, and today I'm joined by Ruben Vosmeer, the CTO at xpate. And xpate is the payment provider that makes it easier to pay, to get paid, and to keep money flowing. So, hi, Ruben. Thank you so much
Hi,
for joining us. How are you?
very well. Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's always funny with two Dutch people to talk English, but we'll do that for the sake of the audience. So in this conversation, Ruben and I will explore their partnership with Silverflow and how their teams collaborate effectively. We'll also discuss how this partnership is enabling xpate's ambitious growth plans, including their expansion into new markets and development of more complex payment flows. So let's dive in. Um, so maybe for those that do not know xpate yet, can you tell us a bit more about the company and also about your role within the company?
Yeah, definitely. So xpate has been around for a bit, but 2 years ago we had a new start, trying to basically bring forward an exciting way of proposing acquiring services to our customers, where we really wanted to bring together the comforts of your banking, your payment facilities to very, very, very close to the way you make your money as an e-commerce, which is basically acquiring. And we started building a platform, building a product, and building a company around that. And we're now 2 years in. We have active business. We have customers that use our products. So we have seen a very, very steep growth in the last year. And very, very excited that allows us also to keep building and adding more features and more experiences for our customers, and just unburdening them in their payments basically all across. However the money comes in or goes out, we're trying to be there and help them.
Cool. And what is your role? What is the team that you're managing?
So my role is CTO. So I am responsible for technical teams, but my role is defined slightly wider within xpate, where I also basically oversee the whole delivery. So from project management, product ownership, business analysis, and a passion of mine is to create products in the end, to find that thing that excites the customer, that helps the customer, and translate that into a very tangible solution, whether it's based on code we have to write with the engineers I have in my team, or connecting exciting partners that have a piece of the solution that we don't have and an expertise that we might not have in the same way, and adding to the experience of our customers.
Brilliant. And I bet that the market you're in, being offering, acquiring, and payment services to merchants, it's a very, very competitive space. So how does xpate differentiate itself from all the others in the industry?
It's a great question. It was actually also the question I asked when I joined xpate. But you're going into the UK market, and if there is a difficult market that's already very well served from card acquiring side, the UK definitely is that. I think that the only way of really answering that question is going back to what should the experience of the customer be? What is their challenge? So being able to help them have their customers pay them when they're on the website is the part that has been done and is done over and over. And there are plenty of players there. And I don't think necessarily in the strictest sense doing that is what's going to differentiate us. We do it well. But that's not the differentiator in itself. Now, once the sale has occurred, once our client has received or has basically originated the sale, comes the interesting question: how does the money flow from there, and how complex or how simple can we make it, and how intuitive can we make it? How easy does that money become to use? If I need to transfer it 3 times to different accounts before I really can start using the money, there are hurdles that should not be there. I truly believe that whatever the complexity of financial rails sitting behind any financial transaction, whether we're talking banking or card schemes, should really not matter to those that are using it. They should not have to see it or be confronted with complexities or oddities of that. And really that's the work we've been doing at xpate, trying to, okay, still has happened. Can you have the money? How quickly can you have the money? How transparently can you have the money? And what are the hurdles that we still need to remove for you basically to start spending that money in the way that is most fitting to your business? So is it exchanging money into another currency because you have suppliers in a different country that expected payment in a completely different currency? Do I need to go somewhere else to make that FX? No, definitely not. We should be able to help you with that. Or do you want to start a payment with a completely different route? Okay, I want to send money through SEPA, through SWIFT, through something else. We are there. We should be able to enable you with that right from the moment basically the money lands from your sale. And that's, I think, the key differentiator here. That distance from receiving, selling, making money to spending it should be basically compressed to almost zero. And yeah, that's where we sit.
So your role, you mentioned that you do product development, so that also involves a close collaboration with the Silverflow team. Can you tell a bit more about that collaboration, about what they offer to you, and how this partnership stand out?
Yeah, it's funny because in the end, Silverflow has taken a position which is almost a utility. I need as an acquirer to access Visa, MasterCard, and the way to do that is to do that through parties such as Silverflow, and they're one amongst many in that landscape. And yet, to me, they're offering more. So it's interesting how a utility company can also be better at it or different at it and really differentiate. From my perspective, and again, I'm responsible for technical aspects, for product aspects. What can I get from them? And it really starts with, okay, your product in the end is making transactions flow, and the only part I see of them, in theory, is an API. And if that API is transparent, is clear, is well documented, works the way it is intended, is well thought, well designed, a good architecture, then my teams gain a lot of time in trying to, just get it working and start pressing the buttons on Silverflow's side. But then we develop products and we try to offer something that is expected by our customers. They come to us and say, okay, I would like to receive money in a certain different way. And Visa and MasterCards allow us to do that. Now everything in between needs to start doing that. So Silverflow is a part of that. Payment Gateway is part of that. Us as basically the one that faces the customer needs to be able to deliver that. And how that conversation goes, then again, really in building that product together. There now we're starting to touch differentiators. I'm dealing with something from a technology perspective that is forward-looking, modern, and very, very agile and well designed from the ground up. I never encounter, let's say, those things where I go, yeah, it makes sense from 100 years of legacy that you ended at this point. That's not it. It's clean by all extents. And even if they manage to build a bad habit in the previous 6 months, they clean it up. It's not there. It doesn't stay there. And then in thinking about creating new products, it's the same. The amount of knowledge, of experience, but also of focus on what it means to customers, and that means us, but also the customers we serve, goes extremely far. And it allows basically to have very level conversations on how can I have one single customer on that platform, and it always feels like my one customer that I'm trying to do something new for is just as important to me as it is to them, which is very, very, very surprising in many cases, because the volumes, of course, they're looking at, I'm their customer. So looking that far down is extremely comfortable for me. It's extremely pleasant, but sometimes even, surprising how, let's say, one step further, let's say, they're willing to go in supporting us.
Why did that surprise you so much? I mean, is that not what you typically see in the industry? That maybe you might not be their biggest customer, but you really feel that they're with you to solve problems.
Yeah, so often you see SaaS solutions to say, well, here's the technology, it works, it's good, figure it out. Or I can tell you about my technology, and it is a very the way of looking then is sitting on a pile of technology, looking outward, going, hey, well, this is us. And it doesn't ask much questions. It doesn't. It's very much it's stating of what you are then as a provider, as a SaaS provider. I think in that sense they're very much not a SaaS provider because they don't look at what they have. They look at what their customers need and want, and without making something necessarily bespoke, which is I don't think that's every startup does that in early stages. Definitely not where they are right now. But they will try to understand, okay, what makes a difference for every single customer and try to integrate it in their direction and in adding. And I think it's a very smart way because it adds value now, but also to their platform for a very long term as well. So when we run into something that they don't have yet, they realize also very early it's a great asset to have as part of their platform as well. So it is not a common thing. I think it's a very smart and very valuable thing to do.
I get it. And can you maybe give Ruben a sort of tangible example of how your organization benefited from this partnership? Because you mentioned their clean APIs, the deep expertise. So how did it benefit you and your team, your developers?
So I think I will give you a little bouquet of a few elements here. The first one is very difficult to quantify, and that is how much do I gain from it being easy, right? When there is no friction, how do you quantify the friction? I have not so far, and my teams have not so far run into a situation where something was weird, unexplained, or difficult, which meant that every single hour of developers working against their solution was well spent. But that is just my judgment, and it's not extremely tangible. And I can, at some point, throw a few of my developers at a completely different platform and ask them how miserable they are. Perhaps they will quantify it. But then I have a few smaller examples, and I think those are more tangible. One of them is a design mistake I made. I thought of a way our product would work, and it relied on some information. And eventually, I figured out that information was not present on our payment gateway. And it's very silly. If a transaction happens in, let's say, Polish zloty, I would need it to know how much euro it's worth once it gets settled to me. And I would like to be able to credit to the customer at sale time in euros, because he's going to receive euros at some point. So the zloty is not that important, but my gateway couldn't tell me that. And this is something that Silverflow knows, but we were receiving from Silverflow with a 24-hour delay. And basically, me making a very, very silly thinking mistake meant my product was basically not going to happen the way we thought. And that delay was quite critical. We tried to go fast, and 24 hours is a lot of time. And on that Friday afternoon, I sent a message to the guys at Silverflow going, okay, I made a mistake. I thought this was possible. This is not. What do you guys have? And they started first asking me questions. What are you trying to do? How? Okay, but what is really the problem? And what? And eventually went, okay, but I think we know what you need. And I think we have what you need. And they went into their teams, and 30 minutes later, I got an answer going, hey, try this. Try this report. Try this information there. You might be able to fix what you're not having there with something else. Try it. We tried it the same day. My developers continued working quite late that evening, and actually it worked. And it really saved me as, let's say, the design of my product, that my product actually could live the way I thought it would. And it also saved the developers a massive rebuild, because they started basically on an assumption. They had a lot of investment of code in there, and suddenly it needs to pivot. And yeah, being able to think with and go, yeah, it is not designed that way, but we might have something for you.
Yeah.
Really, really worth it. A last one, actually 10 days ago, a customer calls us. Our customer service team receives a message that they cannot see their disputes. One single customer, all the others are okay. And this customer cannot see their disputes. And then we fetch the disputes from Silverflow. So something goes wrong there. And we start looking, my team was ill. So basically the worst person to start looking into it is me at that point. I know the least. I'm a generalist here. And I start going through the code of my developers and trying to figure out what can go wrong. In the meantime, Silverflow reaches out to us. And one of their guys noticed that we were making API calls with the wrong identifier. And not only just the wrong identifier, it's the right identifier, but you have an additional character in your identifier. Remove the character, will be right. And they managed to monitor our activity against their platform in such a detail, further than the detail let's say the detail I wish I had at all times. And I didn't have exactly that data point visible in my monitors, and they did. And they acted so proactively. It spared me a lot of effort trying to go again deeper and deeper and deeper and figure everything out. But I was amazed by the level of detail at which they could see basically me making a very silly mistake. My platform didn't behave as it should. And they could just pinpoint it and save us, again, a few hours of silly debugging that nobody really wants to do. 15 minutes later, we called the customer, hey, you have access again. Somebody made a typo. We fixed it. It's all fine. And we knew exactly what was happening from that moment onward. So it's really amazing.
Yeah, it saves your team a lot of time, but also, of course, that customer, I mean, if there's a complaint and it's fixed, people are on it and they fix it, it's a happy customer.
Exactly.
So no, great examples, Ruben. Maybe as a last question, final question. I know you guys have ambitious plans. What are your future plans with Silverflow? How will this partnership evolve, Ruben?
So for now, it evolves basically at the pace of our business. So we have now a stable base of customers in the UK. We are expanding to different types of customers. So we have a lot of customers in selling digital products. We have extended our licenses with Visa and MasterCard about the range of customers we might be able to serve. So in the UK, Silverflow will help us now with new segments of customers. We have activated our connections now also for the EU. We have a EU license. So we are starting now to also support customers in the EU. And again, Silverflow is there every step of the way, asking us, hey, by the way, your first EU customers, we saw 5 transactions yesterday. They're still testing. How are they doing? So it's very much walking forward together on that. And of course, the last thing, and it's possibly the most exciting, is our customers want more. They want different ways of supporting their customers, their own customers, with different ways of paying. And we try to help them with that. And Silverflow, again, is there every step of the way helping us do that, knock on the door of Visa, MasterCard, when basically we need to do something that's they haven't seen before, we haven't seen before, and figure this out together.
Well, thank you so much, Ruben. I think it's a great example of partnerships within the payment industry, because the whole payment industry is about partnerships. And there's partners and partners, but apparently this is a partner that is really involved and helping you on your roadmap. And it's really, closely connected and effectively collaborating with you. So really happy.
I love the word partnership you're using. Sorry, I'm interrupting your flow, but the word partnership is often kind of usurped. We do business with somebody else and we call it a partnership. No, I just buy something. I pay them to deal with a problem. A partnership is much more level in supporting each other, trying to understand each other's problems and so on. This is definitely a partnership.
Great. Thank you so much, Ruben. And see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.